SBR Jaime is an 8 to 10-year-old gelding. He's 16.2 hands tall and was purchased from the kill buyer. When I went to pick up two other horses, I saw this horse standing in a pen that was getting ready to load up on a trailer to go to Canada, and I could tell instantly he was a saddlebred. So I talked the buyer into selling him to me right there, and he got pulled right out of the pen that was loading. We've had the horse for about a month now, and he has been a little body sore, so we haven't done much with him. Aaron's ridden him 2 or 3 times in the last week or so. He is loosening up nicely. He's a little shorter strided, and I think that he's going to be that way the way he travels, but I think he seems to be relaxing a little more, and he will get better as he loosens up more, and his body is less sore from being on the road. He did have Amish shoes and showed evidence of being on the road, and other than he being a little stiff and sore in the body, he did not show any lameness. He is learning quickly to reverse to the rail, which is not easy for some of these horses, as they have been pulling a carriage, and that is almost impossible to turn a carriage when they're like that. When they turn them to the wall with a carriage hooked onto them, they need to turn away from the wall. He is really nice for your legs. He's quicker strided, so for some of the equitation riders, he would be the type horse that would let your rider post a little quicker and keep their legs a little quieter. He is getting a little more motion as his body relaxes. Aaron says he's a very kind horse, and at our first time at working him, he did not canter, and we were afraid we'd never get him to canter. However, you're going to see on this trip that he does do it. It's not pretty, so it means he's knew it in the past, and we're just going to have to keep reminding him of it. He needs a little work on his flat walk. He still has that pulling a carriage look where they really they don't flat walk. They kind of keep the momentum going forward a little more and don't relax as much as we'd like them to. Erin's going to collect him and tip him, and he got the idea there. She lifted him up into it, and then he dropped out, and he can really trot fast, let me tell you. Then she's going to set him up again. This time it's not as successful as the first time, and he loses it and goes into that faster trot. So she brings him down. She's going to relax him a little more because now he's worried. So she's going to go back to where it worked the first time. She's pushing, and she got him into it and picked him up again. He almost dropped out of it. She has to keep pushing. He got a little deep in the corner, but she was able to lift him up and keep him into the canter. So we're really pleased with this, because the first time or two, there was no way he was going to do this. He just did this extremely fast trot. An interesting note, whenever they do that, Aaron gets to laughing because it's so funny. It's so fast. He did come down to his little walk that we are working on, as I said earlier, but it didn't seem to bother him that he was pushed into the canter. Some horses get really nervous with that, and this horse was pretty quick to come back out of it. So she's going to set him up again. He's thinking about it. You can tell how he's kind of got his nose up, and she's going to use the corner to help her get him on the correct lead. And she went past it, and he racked. We did try to rack this horse because he does kind of rack, but he doesn't seem to have any cues, so I think that's just from having his head checked up. And some of these horses have the ability to do this gait, even though they weren't trained that way. I don't think this horse was trained that way to rack. That canter start actually was extremely good for this horse. He's already getting the idea of what she's asking him, and as she does that, she kisses as well as cues him with her legs and hands in the whip. But the kissing, they start learning that sound. So by the time she'd done the other canter starts, this is the fourth time he'd done a canter start, and he already had the idea that that kissing sound meant canter. So this way is a little easier for him. He could also be a little more comfortable naturally on this lead. But this canter start was, I thought, excellent for where he was at, and I believe that's from him just learning to the sound kissing meant canter. We do still use a header to get on him, but he seems to be easy to deal with.